Now, hey, what's up, everyone? How's it going? SPP back in the house today. We have not done one of these in quite some time, but we are back to talk about a whole lot of WWE stuff that's been going on over the past couple of days. We are again still on the road to WrestleMania. I think at this point, as of today, I think we are less than 40 days away from WrestleMania. And things are definitely heating up with the biggest story on the card, with The Rock having a ton to say last week, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins having a ton to say this week. So we're gonna get right into that and talk about it. But of course, before we get started, I have to introduce you to our host, or my co-host, the Tribal Cheese, always. And oh well, I guess he's not here today. So, yeah, Mr. Zero is missing in action. He said he needed to go and do some training or something like that, and then he disappeared, and I don't know where he is now. So, I don't know if
Yeah.
we're gonna see Mr. Zero anytime soon. So, it's going to be running a two-man show for the for now, and we'll just hope y'all stick around. I don't think y'all really want to stick around for just Mr. Zero, right? So,
They're not here for Mr. Zero. They're here for the tribal cheese,
so
baby.
speaking of
The original.
speaking of how you doing, Tribal Cheese? How's it going,
How you doing, Johnny T?
man?
I'm doing great, sir. I'm doing great. We're gonna do my best to entertain these people as only as I can. We don't need Mr. Zero around here. Mr. Zero is just he's a figment of our imagination. He's just a mirage. He's just not real, and he never was real.
this
So only the realists are here. The
he's like,
ESTs
he's
are
like that.
here right now.
He's like
So
that. He's like that meme of the this motherfucker's not real.
yeah, he's still sulking in the loss that he has, and he's dreading the chop that's coming to his chest later on.
Oh, I, I,
Uh,
I I don't care where Mr. Zero is at, or where he thinks he's going, or anything like that, but he is not getting away from getting chopped. I guarantee you he will get chopped.
with his awful predictions, go back and watch the tape, everybody. Go back and watch the tape. His
Yes,
awful predictions got him in that position,
got him
and now
right
he's
in it.
gonna accept the chop. But
Oh my
yeah, I'm
goodness.
I'm excited. What a week! What a freaking WrestleMania! What a
For real, man.
2024! Man, I'm super excited for this. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this right now, man.
I'm super psyched about all of this, and there's just been so much to talk about, and between just the bloodline stuff and Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. So
All the way around.
yeah, I'm trying before we get started here. I'm trying to make sure that I can see who's talking to us in the chat, and I don't remember how to get to our stuff on the YouTube app.
Amateur hour, baby.
So if you're
Only on SPP.
only on the SPP, oh no, I don't want to watch shorts. What are we doing? Is this something you probably? Well, the thing is that like it sucks because I could never like get this started before. I think I just need to get like the studio app on my iPad. I know amateur hour. I know, like, geez, I feel like I did it the last time when we went live. I could see where our stuff was, and there it is. I got it. Okay, there we are. Okay, so now we're good
Success.
to go. Studio app on my iPad. Oh, we can talk. So well,
Wow.
we can hear each other, so we're good to go. So we fixed everything. So now we got the
If
chat
you're
running
still here
live.
with us, like and subscribe because it gets better. It
Please,
only goes up from here.
please, guys, please help us out. But anyway, so all right, so then let's get started then. Last week, or last time we left off and talked about all this stuff, The Rock was right in the middle of, of coming back, and we got the whole joining the bloodline thing and all that. And that was the last thing that we saw. So fast forward to last Friday night's SmackDown. Funny is that that same day before SmackDown happens, The Rock releases this long. I think it was like at first it was like 6-7 minutes on Instagram on his Instagram account, So then he got rid of it for a minute, and then he came out with the full 21-minute version. It's honestly the longest Instagram video I've ever sat down and watched in my entire life. I don't think I've ever sat down and watched a 21-minute video of on Instagram. But I will say this: I don't know if you watched the whole 21-minute promo.
Hmm.
It was 21 minutes of really good shit.
It was really good. It was really good.
it
Didn't
was
feel like 21 minutes at all.
It did not, and it was so good. He laid out like at least 4 weeks of promos in just that one Instagram video, and he was really The Rock was. This is about as raw as I've seen The Rock be in a while. He was a little bit, if you wanted to nitpick the promo, he was a little bit contradictory in some of the things that he said, because he's trying to tell you that it's not because he's the boss, but then towards the end he's like, because I am the boss and I can do what I want. So a little bit contradictory in that, but other than that, it was pretty much to lay out the whole uh, this whole thing from start to finish, from January when he showed up on January the 1st all the way through now. It was a retrospective of everything that's happened and all the changes and everything that has gone through, and he definitely filled in the gaps for us. Because one of the questions I think that you were asking, that I was asking, uh, a lot of us were asking, was why did Cody give up his spot? Why did Cody give The Rock his spot in the first place? They just kind of didn't talk about that on TV. Not even Cody said why he gave up his spot. The Rock let us in on why he did that, and it was a pretty good. I mean, it was a pretty good reason, right? I mean, at least to the Rock's point of view, it was a good enough reason, because this is about family. This is bigger than a championship. This is bigger than your story, and he was able to convince Cody to give him his spot. And then we get the whole that whether or not that was actually the case, that The Rock was not even that Cody did not even tell The Rock before they came out in Las Vegas that he was going to come out and sabotage the whole thing and kibosh it all. You got that nice little clip in the background of them like dapping it up in the back, and then Cody comes out and does his thing and changes everything. He had The Rock slamming all of us Cody crybabies. And he gave David LaGreco and those guys on Busted Open a good showcase there for a
Oh
minute.
man, that was
And so
amazing.
and
He
if
won't be he won't be doing that to us though.
and just dude,
I
like
won't take it.
man, if you were gonna, I mean, Busted Open's huge, dude. That guy David Greco's done so much for the podcast community.
He does look like he's in his
one-
basement though.
he's one of the inspirations as to why I'm like wanted to start doing this and started to do this, because they got a massive thing going on over there. But if Busted Open ever wants to invite us on the show, I'm more than happy to join. But same thing, same thing with The Rock, man. If you ever want to use our clips, feel free to
Feel
use
free.
them. Give us the free pub, man. Come on. But no, anyway, so a little bit of that, and by the end of that promo, we get what I feel is Lau should. It kind of sucks as it can't be the tagline of this story, because it involves a cuss word, a really a really non PG one. But the fuck your story thing, it's like that should be like the tagline for the rest of this feud. But you know. But what did you?
Wonderful,
But before
man.
we get into what happened on Friday Night SmackDown, I want to get your thoughts on what you thought about that Instagram promo. Just what are your general thoughts on that whole entire thing? Is there anything you want to point out that I may have? I know I didn't go through the whole entire thing, but if there's anything you want to point out, feel free to.
Yeah, no. I think it was really cool that he gave us some background on what was said, right? He kind of talked about how it was, I guess Cody was in for it, but then Cody gave him that look of like, what did he say? He said like the sad puppy dog look, or like that
Yeah, yeah.
I just ran
they
over your
just ran
dog.
over
That's
his
what
dog.
it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. I mean, I'm telling you, this promo, if you guys haven't seen it yet, you got to go back and watch it. It's so great because it's on Instagram, so it runs by different rules than normal WWE live programming does. USA Network. Hence why we get the fuck your story, right? Like that's why we got it. I mean, it was just gorgeous. I think The Rock is doing such a great job. Like we're not gonna like truly appreciate all that he's done until he's no longer here.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that this is one of those things that whether we realize it or not, what he's doing right now is just making us so much more invested in Cody Rhodes, so much more invested into the bloodline. Um, just WrestleMania is just going to be amazing for him, right? I believe that I posted a clip. Was it a short talking about how the WWE universe is going to say, I never thanked you, and you got the Dark Knight meme where he says, and you'll never have to, and that's exactly what The Rock is doing right now. Is
Exactly.
he's the scapegoat right now. It's really unfortunate because I know like uh, the host on Busted Open even talked about not in real life, but as a wrestler, I hate him right now, right? And hell, we were even saying that the first,
Yeah.
but we were saying that when I think it was more organic of like, he was still trying to come out as a face, like I took, I took Cody's spot,
Yeah, we were.
that before he turned heel.
Yeah, we were all confused.
Yeah, so we really hated it. We really didn't like what was happening, and but The Rock is The Rock, right? He's the people's champ.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna do what the people want. Hell, I would be surprised if it wasn't like his decision to say, "Hey, we can't do this. Whatever we're doing right now, we gotta stop. Listen to what the people are saying, and and come up with a way." I feel like they've been, like I said, flying off the hip with like some of these decisions. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
clearly they're well thought of, but it's in reaction to what the people are giving them.
Sure.
And it's in reaction to the "We Want Cody" movement, right? It's in reaction to all those things. So you get us, but now The Rock is fully invested, and you're getting us a 21-minute promo. So, I mean, that promo, wow. I mean, it
Yeah.
was just a master. It was a master class. That's a 21-minute promo. Some wrestlers can't cut a 30-second promo. He's doing it for 20, and what's really cool is it's like for him it's so easy, because he does this character so well. I think part of The Rock is genuinely hurt, um,
Yeah.
which makes it even easier for him to get into character. Because you know, to be rejected by the fans in favor of another person, that's not an easy thing to accept. Um, Especially when you are a legend like of his status too,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you think that the crowd's gonna be out there. I mean, hell, when he first came out, he tested the waters, right? He goes through the steps, he tested the waters, and he asked the people about the booth and the bar, and
Yep.
the people responded. So he was like, okay, they want me. I'm coming back because they want me. And then everything that happened with the Royal Rumble and stuff, and it's like, wait, they don't want me no more. Why do they
Yeah.
want this guy more? Like maybe I genuinely I kind of secretly hate Cody just a little bit. Like I love the Cody, and I respect him for what he's doing for this business. It is my job to put him
Yeah.
over and to build him because he's the future of this business and it's my business. Um, but secretly, deep down within my soul,
Mm-hmm.
I'm legitimately like upset that like the fans want him more than
Yeah.
they want me, and I'm coming back to give you guys this match, and you guys want him more. So, now that promo masterclass. I think every wrestler should take note, uh, and I think we are seeing more wrestlers jump on Instagram with Twitter thumbs and X thumbs and stuff. So they go out there and they're getting a little more graphic with their promos. Something you can do outside of the state. I don't know if WWE got more lax on these rules, but if the boss is doing it, you could do it too. I think
That
that's what this is
yeah.
showing us.
That's the big thing is that I mean the Rock, no pun intended, or maybe pun intended, he does sit at like the head or top of the WWE table now at this point. I mean he's I mean you got Nick Khan and of course you got the TKO guys, but the TKO guys put and that's another thing that the Rock definitely said in that promo is that the TKO
Hmm.
board the TKO guys, especially Ari Emanuel, felt felt so that it was so important to have a guy like The Rock on the board and at that position for the foreseeable future for WWE, for the image, for everything, for everything down from the image to creative, all of that. And obviously he has a very big strong relationship with The Rock, and so I know The Rock's a great businessman. Definitely
Hmm.
is. Whether or not his business ventures all work out or not, that's debatable. But he is a good businessman. He always likes to have his hands in things. I also think he's a great competitor. so that competitive spirit is always in him. So I think I'm with you where I think truly and honestly, I don't think he's 100% happy that he's not getting to do what he was hoping to intend, which was that Roman versus Rock match. But I think once he saw that this Cody story is just so huge and it has such a big following behind it, it would just be so hard to say no, because as the boss or as the guy sitting at the top with all the other guys looking at you to say, what do you think? What do you think, Dwayne? You know, uh, he could easily say, I honestly think me and Roman are the biggest thing, and there's just nothing that needs to change that. They're not gonna like it,
Hmm.
but it's the biggest thing we can do, and we're gonna move forward with it. Fans will get over it, and Cody can have his chance next year or whatever. But he could have easily said
Oh,
that.
that was a good point. He did say that.
He could have. Yeah, he did. Yeah, that's. I was actually he made that a
He
part of
said
his.
you can finish your
That,
story next year.
that's why I'm kind of feeling like there's a what's the old saying? Oh man, I can't think of it right now. But it's like you're shooting a promo, but it's a work shoot. That's what I'm looking for. It's a work shoot promo. I believe some of the stuff that he's saying is real stuff. Like it actually is stuff
Hmm.
that was discussed and actually real thoughts. And some of it is obviously just playing, a heel character and putting it into that. I have no doubt that he probably felt like, yeah, we need to do Roman versus me now because it's
Yep.
big, it's marquee, it's huge. Otherwise, why tease it when they teased it and how they teased it?
Hmm. And to add to
And
that point, they needed Cody to fill in CM Punk's spot because CM Punk got himself hurt,
yeah,
and so now Seth
but
didn't
then,
have an opponent anymore.
but then, but then I think just coming from the Rock's perspective, you can see that there's something that you need that like there's something unique about this. So you can't deny the fan support and how they feel about how we all feel about Cody Rhodes in that story. So I think despite what you think about The Rock or whatever as a character and whatnot, I think as a businessman he made the right choice here, in taking a step back to let this main event just play out like it is and just go forward with something else, with something different. And I think it takes a lot. I think it takes a big man to decide to do that and make those kinds of changes as a businessman. Now, as a character, I think he decided, you know what? If this is how it's gonna roll, then I'm just gonna go 110%
Uh-huh.
in, and I'm just gonna talk all kinds of shit. I'm just gonna make these people hate me as much as they can. Then, and that's exactly
Hmm.
what he did in that 21-minute promo. He made us all look like idiots, made us all sound like we're dumbasses and we're stupid people for liking Cody Rhodes. He called his dog Goofy, a goofy ass dog. He said he brought his goofy.
Dude,
He said he brought his goofy ass dog to Las Vegas with him, and that's Pharaoh, man. You
and
don't talk about Pharaoh like that. You don't talk
and
about
he
Pharaoh like that.
slaughtered Seth Rollins on that
He
promo
did. He
too.
called him. He
So
told him what do you call him? A walking clown emoji,
yeah, he's a
and
walking clown
he's a
emoji.
walking
But more
clown
than
emoji.
more
Yeah.
than that, he talked about the status differences between him and Seth because he's
Mm-hmm.
like, you said that you don't need the Rock, but I'm doing all these things. You're just,
Yeah.
you're just a champion. You're just a wrestler. And when you stop and think about it, it's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Like he
it
used
really is true.
like he used the thing of, um, Netflix is not asking, oh, is Seth Rollins going to be the champion when they
Yeah.
comes over here? No, they're asking, what's the Rock status going to be on WWE programming? And
Yep.
that's once again where I say I think those conversations in some way or another legitimately happened, right? In the negotiations. Now, whether or not they named specific people in those negotiations, I would believe that,
Oh, they do.
I mean, you're
They have
gonna
to.
I
They're
mean,
assets.
you're gonna if you're gonna spend $5 billion on a program, you want to know who's gonna be on it. You want to know
Yeah.
who are the
They're
stars. Like,
assets.
and then of course in that same day you had The Rock joining the board, so of course they're gonna ask the question, well, is The Rock gonna be on TV at all? Are we gonna be able to put The Rock on Netflix? Rock is the regardless of whether or not you think that movie is any fucking good, it's not. But that movie that he had, what is it, Red Notice or whatever the fuck it uh, is the most watched movie on Netflix or whatever. But it fucking sucks. Don't watch it. It's terrible. But it was the most watched, so he's a
Says
draw.
the guy that showed me Willy's Wonderland over here.
I mean, I did it. I did that on purpose, though. That was kind of just a funny thing. I never meant for you to take that movie
That's neither here
seriously.
no. That's neither. I will always and forever associate Willy's Wonderland to you. So I'm just gonna tell you that we watched.
Hey, that's
We
what I'm
actually watched
talking
that after a
about.
PLE. You know.
That's what I'm
So
talking. That's what I'm talking about, man. That's what life is about. It's about
that's neither
having
here nor there,
it's
though.
about having fun and doing things, and going outside the box, which is what WWE has been doing here over the past couple of weeks with the whole Instagram promos and people talking mad shit to each other that we don't usually see, either whether it be on live television or on their social media accounts, and I'm loving every single minute of it. So then we get to the SmackDown show later on, where the Bloodline and the Rock and all of them, that whole entire segment takes 40 minutes of the show. 40
Damn.
minutes. And the reason that we were told, that was told on social media, that The Rock ended up doing that 21-minute Instagram promo is because he wasn't going to have enough time on SmackDown to get all that stuff in. They had 40 minutes. They had 40 minutes of the
Well,
show.
it takes
So,
Roman 10 minutes to walk
yeah,
down to the stage half the
yeah,
time. So.
yeah. And so you had all that. And so the Bloodline and the Rock came in separately, as this seems to be what they've been doing here. But they, Roman and has his. I liked Roman's thing too, to be honest. I just talk some, we'll work on that for just a minute. I liked Roman coming out, trying to get the crowd to acknowledge him. Didn't like how the crowd was acknowledging him, and by the end of it, was just like, you know what? I've done my time here. I'm ready to go. And then you had the Paul Heyman thing, which I thought was very interesting. Tell him we can't leave yet. He's got to come out. I was like, So who's calling the shots here at that moment? That's what was going through my head in that moment. Like, so who's really calling the shots here? Because when the tribal chief says it's time to go, it's time to
hmm
go. Nobody tells the tribal chief we got to stay, right? But
hmm
in that moment, Paul Heyman is telling him, "Well, the Rock's gonna come out, so we have to stay here." So,
hmm
and even Roman looked a little irritated in that moment too. So we come back from commercial. The Rock comes out, has that new looking Titantron with the red eyes bull, which I caught, which I was like, "Ooh, evil Rock, ooh." Coming out looking all nice again, another Versace shirt. Gives one of the more funnier promos I've heard in a while. 100% full heel, calling everybody in
Graphic,
Glendale,
bro.
crackhead, crackhead meth heads,
Crackhead
and
meth heads, dude. Oh
crackhead meth
man.
heads, man. Calling what do you call it, Glendale, the biggest the biggest state for meth and drug for cocaine and meth use.
Cocaine and meth use.
Good
Yeah,
lord.
he called that out on national.
on
Yeah, because
cable
it's SmackDown, so he
on
called it on
cable
national television.
on cable tele or actually on national
It's
television,
national
not
television.
even cable. This is anybody can see it. And it's funny because during that, what I found really funny about that whole entire segment was the Rock can say cocaine and meth and all that fun stuff and call
Yeah.
people crackheads and meth heads, but you can't have a guy with a die Rocky die sign. And so Fox was
Yeah.
scrambling so much
Weird.
to black out those images every time, and it's like, dude, at some point you just gotta stop, just gotta let it roll. And I think it was because I heard after the fact. I think it was because Fox, they do the broadcasting and everything, the production for that show. They may not have known that was a that was a gimmick thing from '96, the die Rocky die thing. The people don't really want
Okay. Okay.
people
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
want Rocky to die. It
Yeah.
was
They're
just a,
probably aware. Like they're probably worried about inciting
they weren't
violence.
aware that this was something that was used years ago as people saying that they hated Rocky Mayavia's blue chipper character when he first came out, and so
Yeah.
that was a throwback sign. Like, that person probably doesn't want the Rock to die. If he does, then you need to get some help. But either way, they're like, that was kind of like taking out of it. But you weren't blurting out cocaine or meth or anything like
No. No. That's perfectly okay.
that. That's perfect.
It's a real problem,
That's
but it's perfectly okay.
That's perfectly okay. We can just call everybody meth heads. But that whole entire promo was pretty much a kind of rehash of those 21 minutes, pretty much going through the same kind of things. And in that promo, The Rock also said to Cody, "Fuck your challenge." Didn't really say it like that, but basically said, "You're not when you don't get to face The Rock one on one. In fact, we have a counter challenge to you." So the counter challenge is The Rock and Roman Reigns will be a tag team and will challenge Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins to a tag match in night one of WrestleMania 40, but with a couple of caveats in there, a couple of stipulations. Stipulation one being that if Seth and Cody win, then there's no bloodline involvement at all. And The Rock will see fit that there is no bloodline interference in that match. We get just a straight on one-on-one match with Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns in night two. But, and when, that's when The Rock said, The Rock and Roman Reigns win the tag match, then it's bloodline rules, which means anything goes. Which means if Roman wants to pick up a chair, he can. If Jimmy wants to come in and super kick a couple people, he can. If The Rock wants to get a chair and bang a couple of heads with it, he can. If the wise man wants to interfere, he can. If Solo wants to sing the national anthem, he can. Which just was just small thing real quick before we get into the deep end of that. What did he say about? Oh, he was when he was calling out Jimmy, or not Jimmy, excuse me, Solo, and he was saying that's Solo's happy face. He's happy right now, and he had Solo almost dying. He had him fighting for his fucking life.
I saw Solo like try to wipe it off.
Like he was like rubbing his face and like making like he had him almost had him fucking almost had him lose it, man. That was so great. And then you got a solo chant. You got a solo chant because of the national anthem. So random ass solo chant in there from the crowd. And then so he lays out the challenge for the tag team match on night one, and just about as he's about to say, "If you smell, boom." Oh shit! The tribal chief puts his arm over The Rock before he can get his cooking out, and the holy shit chants start. And Roman Reigns gets on the mic and says he needs The Rock to do something for him. I know what's coming. We all know what's coming. And he asks The Rock that he needs him to acknowledge him. Oh, man. The drama, the everything, the heat, the intensity. I loved every single fucking second of that. And The Rock did it. The Rock has officially acknowledged Roman Reigns as his tribal chief. So all systems go for night one of WrestleMania. The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes, as we all kind of somewhat predicted that was going to happen, and we're all wondering, and well, it's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. So, tribal cheese. Where do we go from here? How do you feel about all this?
Masterclass once again. Whoever's writing this stuff up is doing just such a good job. I mean, they're really, really taking advantage of The Rock's mic skills. It's a whole different like echelon of promo skills. I mean, it's borderline inappropriate, I would say, especially with some of the content that he's coming out. I thought it was insensitive, I guess, but I guess that's what old wrestling used to be was. Older wrestling used to be insensitive. They would push the envelope, and that's kind of what it reminded me of. Because nowadays we're all politically correct. Maybe you guys suck or something. You yell at the fans, but most of the time, not something that's like a real issue. It's a real meth and cocaine are not like a joke. I guess that's kind of the issue here. But hey, when The Rock says it, I guess it's it is what it is, right? So. But I will say, the reason I say that this is all beautiful and the way it's all be built up is, they're making the best of the situation, right? We don't have a match for Rock now. We speculated there's several ways they could have gone. Obviously, the tag match was the one that kind of made the most sense. It was the most teased. They finally solidified that. They're kind of telegraphing, I think, where they're going to go with this, which is, I mean, personally, I think The Rock and Roman Reigns are going to win night one, and it's going to be Bloodline rules on night two, and Cody's going to have to overcome the odds. But I think we already kind of have a picture of where that's going to go, at least what we think it's going to go. So yeah, but more than anything too is that you know what I really love about this is that they're really building that The Rock acknowledging Roman Reigns, right? Being underneath him, which is bizarre because he's on the board, right? Like, you know, he's underneath me, but he's on the board. He's my boss, but he's underneath me. So, I really think that this is all beautiful because you kind of got like Roman's pulling rank on The Rock. The Rock is taking a back seat to Roman Reigns and his spot at the head of the table. But The Rock has always been very clear that he's always believed that he should be the head of the table. He is the head of the table. He said it for years now. Do we really think that The Rock is to be trusted? This is something that this is something that if you want the biggest story, count on it. Count on The Rock turning on Roman Reigns in Bloodline rules, because I think it makes the most sense. He's still the people's champ. Again, he's the Dark Knight. He's the one that we need, right? Everybody wants him. I think this is how he saves his career. I think this is, and not career, but just his status with the fans. The fans will all forgive him when they realize this is what he's been planning to do all along. He puts his company in an amazing position as they move forward. I mean, what else could you want? And probably that'd be the most dramatic outcome, right?
Yeah.
And if The Rock doesn't turn on Roman, it's still gonna be good. It just won't be as dramatic, right?
Sure.
I guess, but yeah, we'll see, right? So, I don't know. I really think that that's where we're going. I think that all this stuff is really building us up to get there. So that's my opinion, and I will be right back.
Okay. So while he's being right back, I'm gonna continue going on this. So, one of the biggest things I think here is The Rock being able to showcase all of his skills and being able to showcase, being able to be a big time babyface, but being able to go back to this heel character that we haven't seen for over 20 years has been just like one of the best things in WWE. This was honestly a whole blessing in disguise, in my opinion, guys. Um, because as much as I would have thought I would have liked to see Roman versus The Rock, um, getting what we're getting now, I think it's a beautiful thing. The Rock being able to be a heel and being able to talk shit and being able to really, and also being able to use the fact that he is a boss. He is a boss. He has a high position in the company, so he can use that to his advantage. He can be that authority, that authority figure of like, well, you know what? If you don't like it, then at any point I can go like this and I can change it, and I can put that title on someone else. That was a quote from his promo again. I can take that World Heavyweight Championship and like that, it's on somebody else. That's what I like to see. That's what I'm liking about all this. I think it's a blessing, and all of this is a blessing in disguise because you could do so much with this. And you're right. Like at some point, they are going to get to that Roman Reigns versus The Rock match. It's just going to have to get there a different way and maybe a different year. But they can plant the seeds of that starting at WrestleMania with either the Rock's
Oh man,
either The Rock turning on him or the bloodline. Like let's just say The Rock is the reason why Roman ends up losing or whatever, and they turn on The Rock, the next night on Raw or on SmackDown or whatever, and that's where
a lot of possibilities
and
there.
that's where The Rock turns face again. At some point, The Rock's gonna, because like you said, The Rock can turn face and heel like this. It don't matter.
Yeah.
We all love him. We all love him no matter what. If he wants to be face after WrestleMania, we're all okay with it as long as Coney finishes the fucking story. If he doesn't finish the story, then I don't know where we go from here anymore. But
he's got to finish the fucking story because they keep pushing this damn video game talking about stories every 5 seconds. So
and so then Cody and and Seth come out on Monday Night Raw to answer, I guess, the challenge. Even though they didn't really answer it, they kind of did anyways. They're both on the same page. Seth and Cody are together. They're gonna be a team. They're in this so that they can put an end to the bloodline, and they will be on SmackDown on Friday to officially answer the challenge. Which it's gonna be yes. It's not gonna say no. So that's where we're gonna go. That's where we're gonna go. We're all set. Tag team match night one. Um, the Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. Not, I mean, I feel like there wasn't a ton to take away from the Monday night's promo. Feel free to tell me that there was, but it was pretty basic stuff. Just same old with the Rock. Although Cody did tell the Rock to never talk about his dog again.
Oh man,
Don't ever talk about
the
Pharaoh
one
again.
thing.
You don't talk about his
How
damn dog, okay?
dare you talk
And
about my dog?
and then Seth Rollins coming in, and I think the biggest piece of news was Seth Rollins saying whether or not it's actually true or not, but he said it. He's 100% cleared for WrestleMania, and I don't know. I don't know how you feel about it, but I would guess he is right. That's probably true, or else why the hell would they be making him work both nights? But
Yeah, bizarre, right? Again, like stuff that doesn't make sense because I mean, either they really upplayed his injury, like it wasn't that bad, um, or truly, I guess what is it? Partial MCL tears can heal really quickly, and then you're willing to risk it because he's going to run two programs. And I'll tell you right now, Seth is not going to go out there like conservatively. He just doesn't do stuff
yeah,
like that. So,
and
um,
he's not wearing a brace or anything.
mm-mm.
He just comes
I don't
out
think he
there.
ever has been.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't worn a brace since he got the injury. So I guess it's just not that bad. I guess I don't know. I feel like if I had that, I probably would be in a wheelchair or something if it were me. But that's why I am not a superior. I'm not a superior athlete. But but yeah, I mean that's all good stuff. This Friday night, like I said, Cody, all four of the guys will be on the show on SmackDown. Cody, Seth, Roman, and The Rock as we push on forward to this tag team match that I'm looking forward to seeing in night one. A couple other things to note on SmackDown that I want to get to before we get into some more Raw stuff. Um, Bailey got turned on. Oh man, I was really hoping that that would not happen. I mean, I don't know. I guess the writing was on the wall, but I was kind of hoping that going into WrestleMania, Bailey might have some kind of help going into that. Like, it wouldn't just be her against all of Damage Control. But I guess they did kind of telegraph the Dakota, kind of cheesing on her a little bit and not really like. I don't know. I kind of felt like she might turn on her either before or at WrestleMania, but she turned on her the next week. It only took a week. I think 2 weeks. I think for that to. It might have been 1 or 2 weeks. I can't remember how many weeks it was. I think it was just one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
One.
it
It
was
was
like
just one week.
it was like the next week,
Super weird.
and she turned on her. Good news is that it seems like Dakota Kai's back from injury, although she didn't do a lot of physical work. I really got scared when she jumped off of the apron and hit the ground. I was like, oh my god, don't use your plant leg,
Re-injured.
don't use your ACL leg to jump off. But oh, it was crushing. It was crushing, but it was also like poetry in motion because that's what Bailey has always done, or at least in her recent career and whatnot. She's the one that you're not supposed to trust, and she's the one that's like jumped off of the apron on that kind of stuff. So it was kind of like coming back around full circle and watching her face just kind of like, oh, like drop, like damn it, damn it, damn it,
Mm-hmm.
damn it. And now Bailey is officially alone by herself, and Dakota Kai is still in Damage Control, and Damage Control is four women strong against one. And I'm just wondering if that's what we're gonna play into the story as we go to that WrestleMania match between Bailey and Io Sky, which I also feel kind of, I don't want to say kind of bad for Bailey, but I kind of feel bad for both of them because that should be like one of the marquee matches, and you kind of feel like it's not, and it's not their fault necessarily. It's whatever WWE is doing. They're not like they're promoting the world heavyweight or the world women's championship match or whatever more than they are this one,
Mm,
when there's a lot better, when I feel like there's a bigger story in Damage Control breaking up and the Bailey thing and whatnot. But
hmm.
either way, um, it sucks to see Bailey just go have to go in on her own. Do they bring somebody in to help her out? You know, is that still a possibility, or do they get somebody that's already there, or does she really, or is this really just Bailey versus the world? What do you think?
Um, there's a lot to unpack here, right?
Go ahead, unpack it all.
I don't know that they're gonna bring somebody to help her out. I'm gonna leave that prediction up to you, because there's one person I would want to come back to help her out, but clearly she's speculated to have signed with a different company, so I won't go too far down that rabbit hole. I kind of disagree with you a little bit on the fact that you said that um, they're not WWE is not building this story up enough, and
I
I think that there's a specific reason for that.
Okay.
I think it's the language barrier. I think that's what's happened here is that there's only so much they can do with Io Sky, Asuka, and Kyrie, right? Because how do they put on promos, right? Shinsuke's way. I'm gonna guess. You know, that's about it. Um, the most that can actually speak is probably Asuka, but it's not her battle to fight. It's Io Skies, right? So
Mm-hmm.
so you have very little dialogue that you can plant, which I think has caused massive amounts of pivots over these last few weeks. It's like, oh, pivot, we screwed up. Let's change it. I think that they're so fluid right now with plans that they're just changing shit up. Because I told you I didn't like that Dakota Sky betrayed Damage Control, was on Bailey's side, was with her for a whole week, and then just said, you know what, never mind, I'm betrayed Bailey and go back to the other side. After she hit the other girls with chairs and shit, they just like, whoa, welcome back. I think it's by design. It's clearly by design because the girls can't talk for themselves. So guess who's the mouthpiece once again
Mm-hmm.
for Damage Control? It's Dakota Sky
Mm-hmm.
because she speaks English. So there you go. Now you have Dakota being the mouthpiece once again. They pivoted on that because they were like, we thought this was gonna work. It's not. Um, we th- think about that. They didn't even do no promos, and for that, and it's because they probably tried it and it didn't work. So there was only so much they can do, and that's why they had to change their minds, bring her back, and now they can start cutting promos again and rebuilding that story. Maybe you're right. It is kind of WWE's fault for making that decision in the first place. But I do think that this it's kind of hard to create that competitiveness when they're not very good at speaking English in a trio group, right? Like all three of them. So they're great competitors, but they need sort of that mouthpiece. So
Yeah, yeah.
you know, um, I think that this story is dramatic as it should be. It's kind of right where it needs to be, I guess,
Okay,
right now
that's fair.
because there's just only so much you can do with it. And to be completely honest with you, like I don't feel like a pulls on my heartstrings for Bailey. She was kind of a shithead while she was in Damage Control. Um,
That's
I
fair.
don't feel nothing pulling on my heartstrings for Bailey. I don't. She hasn't completely turned base. I guess you can say she still looks like a heel. Uh, and I don't really sense there was like all this closeness between her, EO, and Dakota. I
Mm-hmm.
know that they did some stuff, but hey, and it never felt, it's felt disjointed for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and Dakota and EO were part of that, so they didn't like her, like it. I don't know. I don't. I know that there's like it's a slow burn that they did with this story, but it kind of just hasn't captured me as like I just really want to see Bailey win this. I don't care if she wins. I really don't. I think WWE knows she needs to win it because they can't keep that belt on EO for very much longer. The girl can't even cut promos for herself. All she does is give people looks. That's all she does. She just looks at them and makes weird faces, like she did with Rhea Ripley, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Io Sky's gonna go back down to the mid cards. She's gonna be a
Mm.
contender, and Bailey's gonna get. She's gonna be right where she is. EO is a great competitor, but they can't do much with her as the face of the business. They can't do much with her. You talked about Netflix and stuff. They can't do much with this. Bailey is the person to carry the company, at least on the women's side. She's proven it before. She's gonna do it again. You know, there's certain
That's
people that you
fair.
trust with the business. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on Bailey. I'm gonna leave the prediction stuff up to you because I don't particularly know who you feel could come back for, but I would love for you to
Yeah.
say it. So.
Um. I mean, if it were a perfect world, then this would be the perfect spot to bring in a Sasha Banks or something like that. But this is not a perfect world; it's an imperfect world, and it's by all accounts she's already put ink to paper with AEW. And I mean, I haven't seen her come out yet, but there is supposed to be a show in the next couple of weeks that I think is gonna either is gonna announce that for AEW or is going to have her just straight up debut on one of those shows over there. Other than that, I don't really know who else you could bring out. I don't think I was trying to think, four horsewomen as far as that's concerned, but one of them is already doing a program on the other side. One of them is, like I said, about to sign with another company, and the other one's out injured.
Hmm.
Unless Charlotte Flair is able to, you know, hop in for a minute, but I would highly doubt that from a torn ACL.
Hmm.
In 2 months, I would highly doubt she'd be able to make an appearance. Although you might be able to. But this may just be Bailey versus the world, right? Or Bailey, maybe you this the story you're telling now is Bailey is going to have to take down the the thing that she created, right?
Hmm.
She's gonna have to destroy what she created. She's gonna have to be the destroyer now, and
I got
that's
a prediction for this.
okay.
I got a bold prediction here.
Okay.
Dakota is a double agent. I think she's gonna make a double turn. A double turn. She got back into damage control to sabotage them from the
Sabotage him from
inside.
the inside, and then
Yep.
give Bailey the
And then
blowout.
yep, and then Bailey's gonna say it was my plan the whole time. It was my plan. I'm so smart. Bah. And she's gonna go right back to being the shithead that she always has been. Because
uh,
if she brings out the Bailey buddies, oh dude, I'm gonna be so happy, bro. So
yeah, I don't know. That's the thing is that at this point in her, I don't know if she can. I think she can. I think people would embrace it if she brought back the hugger gimmick
oh dude, I would die, bro.
for a minute. Um, but there may be, but I mean, that may be what they have to do to kind of spice this thing up a little bit more. Not that it
A
isn't
double
spicy,
turn.
not that it isn't spicy right now, but um, something to make sure that Bailey's victory at WrestleMania looks really significant and looks like she really did have to put out all the stops to make sure that she walked out of WrestleMania with the WWE Women's Championship. And that one, not to say anything about the other title, but that one is the WWE's Women's Championship. That's what it's labeled, right? So that's the really big one. So if you're gonna put that on Bailey, make it count, make it worth it to put it on her. Like, and maybe this is a story that they tell. Like she went through all four damage control members and didn't give a shit and still got through all of them to get there. But the biggest way to do that, because she's so loved by the crowd, is maybe you bring back the hugger gimmick at WrestleMania, not before,
Not before.
at
Not before
WrestleMania.
at WrestleMania. Give it a little. She can even give it a little spice if she wants to, right?
Sure,
Like
but just
change the
bring out
colors up a little bit.
just bring out the arm flailing tube guys, and the crowd
Yes,
and the
please,
crowd will go nuts for that. Uh,
dude. It's so nostalgic. So I would love it.
I
Yeah.
don't know if they could bring back the music, but I know they got some issues with that. But maybe they could pull it out of the library for one night. That would be kind of cool too. But you do that. But I feel like you do that in lieu of not being able to give her backup because there's just no one to that makes sense to give her the backup. You know what I'm saying? Unless over the next couple of weeks somebody comes to her from the back and says, "I got your back, Bailey." But what would make sense at this point with 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 four shows left? Who would make sense to just say, "Hey, I got your back, Bailey"?
Nobody.
Like nobody, right? I mean,
Nobody should have her back.
yeah, nobody.
She's been
So
awful to
that's what
everybody.
that's what I'm saying. Like this now, I guess the story you're telling now is that everything that Bailey has done over the past couple of years is coming back to bite her. It's like, oh,
Sure.
so And I will say this about WWE recently, within the last couple of ever since Triple H took over, there's one thing you can count on. It's continuity now. Like continuity actually, I guess depending on what you're doing, but for the most part, continuity matters. Like, oh, you forget, yeah, Bailey's been a shitbag heel for the past 4 years, so of course she's getting her comeuppance now, even though she's a face. It's like you can't forget she was a heel. She did create all of these things, and so there you go. That's
Yeah,
so it's kind of
there's
not.
receipts, right?
Yeah,
Drew
exactly.
McIntyre is the king of that.
It's kind of nice to have that, and not just forget about it just because she switched over to being a face. Like you just forget about everything she did as a heel. They're making sure that that's you remember that somewhat. So I like that in that respect. So hopefully, we see where it goes with that in the next couple of weeks. They still have a couple more shows to kind of see what Bailey's direction is going to be as far as how that match ends up, uh, coming to a head. Or I'm just hoping for the hugger gimmick there. And so, but speaking of, you brought up a good segue there into Drew McIntyre, man. So Drew McIntyre still has a place on this card and in this story with Seth Rollins, and he made his presence known yet again on Monday Night Raw, um, with his fire ass promos that he likes that he came out with, and of course he had that match with main event Jay, and that was a pretty good of a banger of a main event. But I did like that match was cool and everything. I did enjoy that match and everything, and I enjoyed the finish and all that. But I enjoyed more, I think, what happened after the match with Drew. And did we lose?
Hmm.
Okay, I thought I lost you for a second. You were like so still. I thought I lost, but I did like what happened after the uh, the match where Drew's getting ready to walk out after winning his match, and Jay is getting attacked by the bloodline and whatnot, and here comes Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes, coming to make the save, and Seth Rollins runs right past Drew McIntyre, and you could tell that Drew McIntyre was looking at him
Say
like,
what the?
what the fuck are you doing running past me, boy? And then
I'm your
he,
opponent.
and then he let him have it. He got back. Drew gets back into the ring and hits Seth with the claymore, good, nice looking claymore, and tells him, what does he tell him? There on the ring, he tells him, "I told you, if you go through with this, this is what's going to happen to you in our match."
Hmm.
And I believe it. There's some truth to that, right? I mean, Seth has put himself at huge risk in that. And then Seth's got to defend the title on night two against Drew. So, yeah, Drew's got a lot. Dude, I love this fucking Drew McIntyre character. I love it so much. Not only just what he's doing on TV, but what he's doing outside of it. What he's doing on social. We go back to that thing we talked about
Hmm.
earlier with the social media stuff and whatnot, and you got him doing doing the CM Punk jabs whenever he can get a jab in, uh, calling Seth the bitch ass motherfucker or whatever you call it, or shit,
No,
whatever he called him, a bitch or whatever on.
because so Seth says, "Bitch, it's because I've been working my ass off. XYZ. You're gonna have to unpack if we find the tweet. You gotta tell me what the hell Seth's talking about because I don't understand what he's saying. But I like how Drew McIntyre trolled him and said, "Bitch, where was this energy last night?" That's all he said,
Oh
and I
yeah,
thought it was
yeah, yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. That because that's how that whole that's where that whole tweet war started between him and Seth last night. Um, Let me see if I can find that tweet real quick. Keep rolling while I'm looking for that tweet.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, God, what can you say right now about Drew McIntyre other than that it's just golden, man. I'm so excited for him to not only win at WrestleMania, but then have a nice program with CM Punk when he returns because they're doing a slow burn. I think Drew's kind of understanding what it takes to sort of take his career into his own hands, and he's embracing this character and he understands what it takes. You got to do little things too, right? You got to be driving out of San Antonio playing the Cult of Paradise. Was it
The code of
the Cult of
personality. Yeah.
Personality? You got to do little things like that because it makes you just your personality just shines through. It's amazing. God, I never knew that I was gonna like Drew McIntyre this much. And I know for sure now that it was always just what he was saying before. It's just,
Mm.
you know, you found it.
Yeah, I found it all. I found it all. So it starts off with once again Drew gave that promo, the backstage promo where he called Seth Rollins a junkie, and that's what got Seth to respond on Twitter or X or whatever to say, "Bitch, I've been fighting with my soul for the last 2 years to make sure jackoffs like you even have a world title to compete for at Mania." Which those are some really harsh words, some really strong words to use, and then
Wait,
that's what.
I I really need you to break this down for me because I didn't understand his like point. Like, I've been fighting with my soul. So I'm guessing he's saying he's been fighting so hard to have the world. Like that title just came up. It just was created, and he's fought through every. I don't even understand what he really means. Maybe you can kind of break that down because it was confusing to me.
Basically, what I think he's trying to say in that promo, because I mean, because obviously Seth is so fired up with everything going on, so everything's gonna come off very, very like strong and whatnot. And this was a strong response to Drew, right? And basically, what he's saying is, and it's true to an extent, right? He got this title. Ever since he's had this title, he's put his mind, body, and soul through so much shit over the last what 8, 8, 9 months that this title has been active to try to make this title important enough uh, so that so that they could have a legitimate title to contend for at Mania. I think that's what he was trying to get across. Once again,
Yeah.
once again, it plays into that you're trying really, really hard to make this title as important as the WWE Undisputed Championship, but it is what it is. It is what it is. That title is where it's at. It's an important title. It's a world championship, but it's not at the level of the other one. It's just not. But that was him saying, this is what I've done. This is what I put my body through. I put my soul into this to make this title important enough to be defended at WrestleMania or whatever, right? And then that's
Mm.
and then that's when Drew comes out and
I
says,
disagree. I have to disagree because he's so caught up in Cody's story. He's more interested in the other fucking title and being part of that fucking story rather than say, Cody, you're on your own, dude. I got my own shit to handle over here. I got to work on my heavyweight title. I got to make sure that this title is the most important one. You need to, if you are interested, you come help me with my title because my title is fucking important.
yeah,
That was what Drew McIntyre's point was that he's a fucking junkie. He needs to be on that shit over there rather than focusing on what he should be, which is his own
yeah,
fucking title. But instead, he's joining tag team matches he doesn't
yeah,
need to be a fucking part of. So that was Drew's point, and so like it just didn't make sense to me because it's like
yeah,
I first of all I don't think that Seth has done enough to elevate that title. It hasn't been around long enough. Seth's body of work hasn't been long enough. So Drew wins that first argument. So yeah, that's just like
oh,
that's why I was like I didn't
I'm
understand
not,
that.
I'm not saying that Seth Rollins wins this Twitter argument. I'm just putting it into context for you to let
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah,
to,
yeah,
to
yeah.
let to let you know I think this is where he's coming from with it.
I think it was just a shitty comeback. That's what I thought about it.
Whether or not we all agree with it or not is up to us.
Sure,
But
sure.
that but then that's when Drew comes back with the bitch. Where was this energy last night? That's
Oh
a great
man.
clapback. And then Seth wasn't done yet. He still responded to him. Well, bitch, some of us who actually have a proper set of balls on us prefer to do our shit talking face to face. In the interim, it's okay to have a little fun. And I don't think Drew responded to that. And I was like, holy hell, that was a pretty good little back and forth. And then and then that's when Drew didn't respond to that tweet directly, but he put out another tweet today about 7 hours ago saying, "What did I ever do in this world to deserve an empty-headed, uh, fucking dumb shit like Seth?" Now he put stars in front of dumb and stars after dumb, but this right here, once again, it's Drew being fantastic and intertwining two stories into one. So what he says is what did I ever do in this world to deserve an empty-headed fucking dumb shit like Seth Rollins to go out on national TV and go into business for himself with the clip attached to it of what happened at the end of Monday Night Raw where Seth runs past Drew and then Drew claymores him and tells him that stuff in the ring. That is a shot at Seth, obviously, right? But that is a direct quote from CM Punk and what he said during his time in AEW in reference to Adam Page going into business for himself on one of
Wow.
their promos.
Brilliant.
Once again, it's Drew intertwining two stories into one
Knowing his
and
shit.
making
Yep.
sure that CM Punk is also going to stay relevant in this program because
That's actually smart.
that is more than
Hmm.
likely going to be your 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 world heavyweight program in August whenever that time comes.
Wait.
If
Yeah.
Drew still has the title. If not, either way, I think it's still going to be Drew and CM Punk or whatever when CM Punk comes back. Whether or not it's for the title or not, I guess it just depends on where they go with that title. But good stuff from Drew, dude.
Seriously.
Drew is fantastic in ring, on the mic, and on social fucking media, dude. He is roasting perfectly. He is using
Hmm.
his. He is making sure he is making good use of all of his time, dude. Like I could sit here on Drew McIntyre's Twitter and just laugh my ass off all day long, just looking at the shit that he posts and shit that he does. It's like fucking hilarious, dude.
I'll tell you right now, in my opinion, Seth Rollins right here, Drew McIntyre's right here. I think that his skill level right now on the mic and to give us a product that we're entertained by is a little bit higher than Seth Rollins right now. I think Seth is one hell of a competitor, super
Yeah.
athletic, but Drew's starting to get what it takes to be the face of the company. I mean, the only person that, I mean, shit, dude, I really didn't think I was gonna care at all about this world title match with Drew in it, and now I care about it more because of Drew, not because of Seth. Weird.
Yeah, yeah, for real. I mean, because now, like, I want to see Drew win this title. I want to
Hmm.
see him. I think it's well deserved just on the body of work that he's done. On the flip side of things, I want to see Seth and Cody beat The Rock and Roman Reigns. So that's but that's what we're all saying is that's like what is Seth? What is more important to Seth right now? I think what's more important to him is this bloodline story. Ah, well, that's going to cost him that championship then. It's going to cost him that championship in night two. That's what's going to happen. And so all the energy he puts into night one is going to cost him in night two. That's a great story to tell right there, too.
Hmm.
So then afterwards, the Monday afterwards, what happens then, right? Does Seth go to just being like, well, it was tough or whatever, or does Seth go into fuck you, Cody again? Like I hate you again. Like this is
See,
your fault. This is your
that's
fault.
another
I
wrinkle.
hate this.
Yep.
I hate you for getting me a part of this. Like I should have never done
That's why
this.
that's
like
why
it
I did
cost,
that standoff shit
like
where it was like
like get it.
who's gonna shoot each
Yeah,
other first.
like getting me into this cost me my world heavyweight championship. I just should have stayed away. You have so many angles you can play with that,
Yep.
but Drew's been able to keep himself relevant through this big story. I'd argue he's probably the second biggest story in WWE right now, other than the Bloodline stuff.
I agree. I completely agree. I think that you're spot on with that. And that's what I said. Like, and it's because of Drew, not because of Seth.
No, this is all.
Seth is just adding to the other story.
This is all Drew doing his stuff on his side. Ever since the day after the Royal Rumble, Drew has just put himself on another level by himself. Which, by the way, if you go on Drew's Twitter account, his like how you can put like a cover photo like in the background, like not the profile but the cover one. Like
Yeah.
it's him. It's the image of him like laying out on the top rope while CM Punk's in the
Oh
middle
yeah, yeah,
with the
yeah.
cast on. I was like, oh god, this guy's just he knows what to do here, and I'm so glad that Drew has been given the opportunity to literally just go with it.
Drew is the only one promoting their world title match
I
because
agree.
Seth's not doing it.
I
He's
agree.
the only one doing it,
I agree.
and it's if it wasn't for Drew, we wouldn't even care because Seth would just have an opponent, and it
And
wouldn't
that
even
and that and that
matter.
and that and
Seth
that
doesn't even care about his own opponent.
and that feeds into everything that Drew is doing, which makes you want to watch everything that Drew is doing because he's trying to tell him, if you don't take this seriously, this is gonna cost you. I told you.
Hmm.
I told you. This is what's gonna happen, and I think that's
I
what's actually gonna
you know
happen. I think it's gonna come to fruition at WrestleMania.
out of all the champions, I do expect this title to change hands.
I do
Out of
too.
all the
I
champions.
think it's time. I think it's time, and I think you have found the perfect person to put it on.
Hmm.
Unless you throw another wrinkle in there, and you end up having
No,
a cash
no.
in. I'm just saying.
Moving
I'm
on.
throwing it out
No,
there because that briefcase is still out there. I mean, I'm just saying that
it's gonna
briefcase
be
is
attempted, but no,
not at
no.
WrestleMania. No, I think this is Drew's moment. I think it's time to give him his moment, to
Exactly.
give him
I
his
don't think you can do
flowers,
it.
and I think this is the best way you can reward him for taking this story and running with it and
Hmm.
creating this character that is so fucking good and it's funny and it's just yeah. What's up? What you got?
Oh, I got you. I got your cash in story as we move into the next topic.
Oh my god.
As but I got your cash in. So continue on.
But yeah, so we'll see what Drew does from here on out. I do think they keep doing this every week leading up to WrestleMania, and you're gonna have me 100% invested in that match, and it's gonna be because of Drew, and I'm gonna want Drew to win. If he keeps going like this every week, and I keep seeing stuff like this from Drew, I mean, I'm not gonna want anybody else to win this. So
Hmm.
that's what I think about that. That's where I go with that. So keeping on with the I say you wanted to get into the briefcase thing. I was gonna move on to something else, but if you got
I
something on
want
the
to get
briefcase
into
though. Oh, okay, okay.
Gunther's issue.
I was gonna get into something else, but go ahead, take it over.
Oh,
Get
what were you gonna do? I
get
thought
get
what
get
else you looking at? Oh, we're
give me
saving the best for last. I know
yeah,
what you're
yeah, yeah,
talking
yeah.
about.
Go ahead. This is a good one.
So we got the Gunther uh I guess you could say the gauntlet match coming up. We got
Mm-hmm.
what is it, 5 contenders?
Mm-hmm.
So remind me again, we got JD McDonough. I think it's Dominic Mysterio, which
No,
I think we saw what happened to Dom this last week, and it wasn't good. Uh, um, who else do we got? We got Big Bronson Reed, Sami
so
Zayn, and I
yeah.
think Shinsuke Nakamura
You're
and
missing
Chad
one. You're
Gable.
missing Chad Gable. That's correct.
Chad Gable.
So I believe this gauntlet match for the number one contenders is gonna have 6 people.
Mm-hmm.
And those people are, let's go off. I think you were missing another one, so I'm gonna go off of what I remember. Ricochet was the first one that was announced in the
Oh,
card
it's Ricochet, not
because
Dom.
Ricochet came out to tell Adam Pierce why he should be a number one contender. Okay, whatever, dude. Bronson Reed, Big
Mm-hmm.
Bronson Reed, as they like to call him.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, JD McDonough,
JD
Chad
McDonough.
Gable. Was Dominic one of those
No,
guys?
it's Sami Zayn. I think
Sammy,
Shinsuke.
Sammy, Sammy. Yes, Sammy and Shinsuke. Those are your 6.
Okay, Dom
Dom,
was left
D-
out. He had a match. That's
Dominic,
why.
Dominic already had his shot, and whoo, he took a
And it
beating.
was.
He took one hell of a beating. But
Uh-huh.
those are your 6. Those are your 6 contenders that are going to compete in a gauntlet match next week for the number one contender to Gunther's title at WrestleMania. Go ahead, take it from there. You had some thoughts.
Yeah. So I mean, depending on where you feel like who's gonna win this, I fully expect. I'm gonna look through my crystal ball, the tribal cheese crystal ball. It's nice and cheesy. We have a couple of different people that can perfectly win this. Obviously, we have people that are not gonna probably win it, but the 2 people that come to mind that possibly could win it are Sammy, Chad Gable. I personally feel like right now Chad hasn't been built up So I'm gonna default to Sami Zayn. I really don't like this at all. I'm gonna be honest with everybody on this show. I don't like this at all because I think that this is a waste of talent. I'm not excited for a one-on-one match with Gunther because Gunther has proven time and time again he can beat the shit out of any mid Carter. He should be at the heavyweight level. He shouldn't be at no undercard belt. So I think we're gonna go with Sami Zayn versus Gunther, which I'm not super excited for, and I fully expect Gunther's gonna retain. Now, Johnny T,
Mm-hmm.
this is where the cash in happens. This is where Damian
Oh
Priest comes
no,
in, cashes in on Gunther,
no,
and takes the
no.
belt from him.
Well, okay,
He's
okay,
been
okay,
he's been
okay, okay, okay,
teasing
okay,
it, Johnny
okay,
T. He's been
okay,
teasing it.
okay, okay,
Look at my fingers. Look at my fingers.
okay,
He's
okay,
been
okay.
teasing it.
So, okay, 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 okay.
Judgment Day has been feuding with Gunther. He's been teasing it, Johnny T.
I'm gonna work the brain here. I want to go into the depths of my mind, and I'm gonna try to make sense of this because I want to be with you on this, but I want to make sure that I
He
get
said
this
we're
right.
adding that title.
That I get this
He
right.
said we're adding that
That I
title
get this right.
to this thing.
Okay. At first, when you said that, I thought you're fucking crazy. That's the stupidest thing. But then
Sure.
I thought, okay, wait a minute. Let's think about it for a second. Who was the last person that had the Money in the Bank before Damon? It was Austin Theory, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he tried to use
Yes.
it on the United States title and failed against Seth Rollins. Am I wrong about that? Or who
I don't
was?
remember. It was a miserable attempt. It was no. He did it on Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. Did no no
No,
no.
no. The reason he did it on Seth, I think when Seth had the United States title. I think Seth was the one with the United States title at that time. And the reasoning that he gave at that time was because he wasn't going to be able to cash it in on Roman because of the bloodline. That was the excuse that Austin Theory gave,
Sure sure.
but I don't think they believed Austin Theory was ready for any kind of a world title. World title. And this was
Absolutely.
and this was before the World Heavyweight Championship was reintroduced. So there was the only title on Raw was the United States Championship because the Intercontinental was on SmackDown at that time. And I am gone. What happened?
Uh-oh. I told you to put your phone in do not disturb, man.
Is somebody calling me?
Most likely, but you're back.
No, I don't think anybody called me.
Now
I
now you're off.
I blacked out for a minute. I'm gonna turn off my camera for just a minute. I'll keep my audio on, but I'm gonna turn off my camera because I need to see what the hell is going on with my camera, guys. But we can still talk. You can still hear me.
I know, I know. Yeah, I know where you're going with this. I know where you're gonna go with this because you're saying that there's precedent on cashing in on a like a mid card title.
Oh no! Oh no! No! No!
And
No! No! Where I was going with this is that I kind of had forgot that about the Austin Theory thing, and I was trying to remember if he had tried cashing in on the World Heavyweight Championship, but there wasn't a World Heavyweight Championship then. There was only the mid card
Roman
title, the
Reigns.
mid card titles, and then Roman Reigns title. So yeah, so he did. So that's why I had to pause for a minute because I was like, wait a minute, like that can't happen. Then I was like, wait, no, 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 it can because he tried it before and he failed. Now the
Hmm.
other thing that I thought is that's like, man, it's such a terrible. Like I thought real quick is it's such a terrible thing to me to cash in for a mid card title. But,
Mm,
but,
yeah.
here's the big but about it. This is why it took me just a split second to think, oh, well, that would be one hell of a way to end the longest streak for the of the current Intercontinental
Hmm.
Champion. That would be one hell of a way to end it, where he loses it because of a stupid briefcase.
Yep.
where
That he wasn't expecting.
where the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time is ended because of a briefcase. That you're right. After going in it through a grueling match with whoever it's going to be, here comes Damian Priest with the briefcase, and it gives Damian Priest an opportunity to cash in, um, you know, and have probably a successful one because I'm not sure if the world heavyweight would be a successful one for him. But I could see
Nope.
that. I could see it now.
That's Drew's belt, and you
I could
know
see
that's
it.
Drew's belt. At the end of the day, Johnny T, this is still a business, and they got you, like you said, they got to reward their best employees, right? And Drew is somebody you want to keep around, somebody that deserves a title. You do this to Drew, and he's not going to be happy. He's just not going to be happy. This is not what he deserves, right? And there's another thing of trust. Damien hasn't proven himself to be a real champion yet. You know, you can call the tag team titles a champion, but look who he's fucking facing. You know, a bunch of little guys he can squash all day long. So, what better way, right, than to, like you said, it makes it Gunther. It makes it really good. I mean, I think that they've kind of teased this
They did.
for a while now. For a while now. I mean, they made Damien look really upset at Gunther. Gunther even said, "You're not cashing in that briefcase on me right now." So XYZ. So I was thinking about this, and I was like, "There's no way on earth that Netflix approved this heist." And we're gonna love that. Like if you cash in on Cody Rhodes, we're gonna fucking hate that. If you cash in on Roman Reigns, we're gonna hate it. If you cash in on Seth or Drew, we're gonna hate it. So the final option is Gunther can finally step out of the IC race, which we've all talked about for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and Damian Priest can finally solidify himself as an IC champion. And now Gunther can come for the big boys, right? He can come for the big belts. And I think that puts us in a really good place for the rest of the year. Or he can go back and try to go after the IC belt again, but something tells me he probably won't. But hey, look at what you have. You have Judgment Day
Yeah.
continuously feuding with Gunther right now. And think about this, Johnny T. Think about this too. You get champion, right? You get Damian Priest, who's also had beef with Drew McIntyre.
Mm-hmm.
That's a program in itself for later on,
Yeah.
too. So, but you got to build up Damian Priest as a legitimate contender first. If he
Well,
holds that title for a while,
yeah.
he's got, then you can possibly have it.
And I actually, I don't know if you feel this way. I kind of felt like this a little bit too. I think Monday, um, I think they tested the waters on if the crowd would start liking the Judgment Day.
Hmm.
Because in that match between them, which here we go again, where we're just talking about Judgment Day went up against Imperium, right? That's where we're getting all this interaction between
Yep. Yep.
Judgment Day characters and Imperium characters and Gunther and all that. And although those are right now, those are two heel, teams and factions. The crowd was really behind Finn Balor and Damian Priest. We got some Finn chants.
Be right back.
We got some Finn
Go
chants,
ahead. Go ahead.
and
Go
then
ahead. I can hear you.
we got Damian, getting cheered very loud, very heavily during that match. So I don't know if that's them testing the waters to see if they might be able to turn this team face at some point. I think I think it's going to be really hard as long as they have Dominic and JD McDonough on that team because nobody likes them. But everybody loves Rhea Ripley. She's might as well be a face at this point. Um, and people were liking Finn and Damien on Monday. And so if you do decide to do something like having him cash in on Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship, maybe that's where you could do a turn for Damien and give him a face run with the Intercontinental Championship. I don't know. That's one way to do it. Um, but yeah, because they've been interacting with Imperium, so that does make sense to kind of maybe tie in something with that at WrestleMania, possibly. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
we still don't know where the tag team title scene is gonna look like at WrestleMania. It was teased on this last Monday and last Friday from both the general managers that they're going to be making an announcement pretty soon on those tag team titles. What announcement that's going to be, whether they're going to separate the titles or if they're just going to announce what the championship match at WrestleMania is going to be, maybe a multi-man ladder match or something like that. That's the announcement that we're waiting on to see what announcement that's going to be. So that will be Judgment Day's place in that particular
Mm-hmm.
scenario too. But could they have presence in the intercontinental scene by the end of the night? Well, I guess that remains to be seen. Um, Another thing that I could see. Now this is we're just talking like way in the future now, right? Because no, it can't be that far because I forgot. I think Damian Priest has to cash in before the end of May because I think or when do we do Money in the Bank? Do we do it in May or do we do it in June? Um,
I defer to you on this.
it's either May or June. So I know it's one of those months, either May or June. So he's only got until then. If he doesn't cash in, he would be the first ever Money in the Bank winner to not cash in and lose out on the opportunity. Which I don't think they're gonna do that.
Not gonna happen.
They're not gonna happen. And so, how do you get this cash in right? I don't know if you can get it right on the world heavyweight side, but you might be onto something. What
I imagine this,
what
Johnny T.
because to me, I feel like I don't know. Like, there's only I this is the way I feel about it. At WrestleMania, there's only one or two. There's only two people that should compete against Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. You hit on it a little bit earlier in this conversation. It's got to be either Sami Zayn or Chad Gable. For Sami Zayn, they've been playing this story that he's been looking for that way to finally get over the hump and like do something big, right? And he's been on this losing streak. He's been on this way of trying to figure out his way to WrestleMania since main eventing last year. And so this would be the way to get there. And then if he beats and ends Gunther's streak, that would be just one of the biggest things Sammy has done, right? That's what they're telling you. That's what they're telling you to believe in, right? For Chad Gable, the story that he's been telling on his own has been fantastic. And I think he's been telling you the story that this is more than just a title for him. This is the fact that he embarrassed him in front of his daughter, made his daughter cry. This is real. This is real life for Chad Gable. This is not about a title, right? So there's a good story there too with either one of those two guys. But do you honestly, like if you're asking me and I asked you, I think you answered that question earlier, is do you believe any one of those two guys can actually beat Gunther at WrestleMania?
No, not one on one.
I think the answer is no. I think the answer is because you also can't have every single title at WrestleMania change hands, right? It's kind of
No.
illogical. And you already kind of feel like the main one, the Roman's gonna lose. You feel like Seth is gonna lose. That's already two titles that change hands. You feel like the tag team titles are probably gonna change hands. Uh, I feel like uh, I feel like
A lot of titles do change in WrestleMania though,
I feel
because
like
they give the fans what they want.
I feel like the women's the WWE women's Bailey is gonna win that one. That's already four title changes.
Rhea's will not though. Rhea's is not going to
that's
change.
one that's gonna retain, right? Or is it? But that's one that could retain. I could see that one being a retain. So then you have the United States title. I think that's gonna get taken off of Logan. Um, and so
We don't
then
even know who that is yet.
and so if it's Randy, probably yes, because you're gonna have Randy
Mm,
lose to Logan at WrestleMania on his first
yes.
WrestleMania back. Nope, I don't think so.
Yes.
No, I don't think so.
Why is Randy going to take an undercard title?
Because what else are you gonna have Randy do right now?
You got Logan who's younger and yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't make that much sense. Randy can barely wrestle very consistently because of his injuries.
But this
Anyway,
is
sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt you. Keep
but
going, keep going.
yeah. So but I would expect that title is gonna change because I don't think they're gonna have Logan hold on to that title for a long time. So I think
Gunther would technically
but
retain.
so
He'd
that
just
so that
lose it in overtime.
so
You know what I mean? Like he would
so that
retain, but he'd just lose it over time.
yeah. So then at that point, I guess what I'm getting to on this is well he ends up retaining the Intercontinental title, and then maybe you do have the cash in right, and then that happens, and so because really at this
Hit him with the
point
briefcase and pin him.
at this point who can beat Gunther for that title?
Nobody.
So what's the best way?
Not in the undercards.
So what's the best way that you can do to get that title off of him? Yeah,
Steal it.
might be the
Heist.
might be the briefcase, which is why they probably teased that. So you're probably onto something there. I wouldn't be surprised. If
I might
that's
be
what
onto
they-
something.
I-
Check this out, Johnny
I
T.
wouldn't be surprised if that happens.
What if earlier in the program, Imperium makes it, gets that tag team belts, takes it off of Judgment Day, So now you have the tag team belts going to Imperium, and then you have the title switching both sides. So now Kaiser and Vinci are gonna look at Gunther like, hey, what the hell? Now we got the belts and you don't have one. Imagine
uh,
that. Imagine that. Like just that for just a quick second, because we do anticipate that the belts will switch, right? And Kaiser and Vinci have done a lot of work. Don't get me wrong; they're like veterans, right? They've done a
mhm.
lot of work, so I can see them getting the title win. Judgment Day doesn't really need those belts, so especially if Damian Priest is going to hold on to that stuff. So you know, it could be like that, or it could be
Mm,
like you said, they're going to split it instead. Instead, Judgment Day retains one half of the belt, and they retain the other half. But who knows? I'm just saying, like, this could drive a deeper story with more internal term. I mean, for a long time, Gunther has been shitting all over Vinci
the
and
guy.
Kaiser because they haven't been doing get it done. And now this can switch the roles to where
Mm,
they can look at him and you can see like a Gunther, a different side of Gunther that's like, I've
sure.
never been in this position
I
before. I'm
yeah
embarrassed to be here.
yeah.
I'm not representing the ring the way it should be represented or something like that. Who knows? But it could become something that could be poetry.
Yeah.
Is rather than having Judgment Day just run the house, keep the tag team titles, and then steal Gunther's title too. Like I mean, I
Yeah.
don't think they're that popular. So
So then the only way you can, yeah. So then the only way you get the
even it
title,
out is switch it.
yeah. The only way you get the title off of him is with shenanigans, because there's nobody that can beat him
Yes.
straight up 1-on-1 kind of thing. That's what you've been telling everyone. But I don't know. I guess that remains to be seen. We'll see how it goes. Uh, Now
Hmm.
I do think those tag titles are probably we still don't know what's going to happen with them. I'm assuming this is assuming that however they're being defended is going to be still undisputed. They're not going to be separate titles or anything like that. Um, I think those titles are still reserved for R Truth and the Miz for Regeneration X.
Ever since this whole R Truth thing.
For Regeneration X, man.
Okay, first of all, that's not cool. Second of all, ever since R Truth broke away from the Judgment Day, this stuff hasn't been solid anymore. The Miz is just not that guy, man. Like it's more the Miz's fault. I don't know. He's just not funny. He's like Jim Carrey funny. And R Truth is actually funny. And so it's just I don't know. I see that they lost all kinds of steam with R Truth, which really sucks because had they kept on the Judgment Day story going all the way to WrestleMania, I think we would have had that justification to really reward R Truth. But I just don't see it right now. I don't see it. I think that I mean shit. R Truth is barely on TV right now. All he's doing is play video games and
What's
keeps calling DIY Regeneration X. So
DIX DIX or whatever he's calling it.
DIX.
Sean, the Heartbreak Kid. Sean, there's still room for R Truth at WrestleMania and to have a prominent role there
I think they have a
and
match this
whatnot.
week, right?
But yeah, I think they're gonna have a match next week, this upcoming on Raw. Uh, but we'll see where it goes with that. But there's a lot of things that can happen on that Gunther scene, and so I don't know. That'll be interesting to see another interesting wrinkle that could happen on there. We'll see if there is
You heard it here, the
if there
tribal chief.
does end up being a cash in at WrestleMania. It could be for the Intercontinental Championship. Wow.
And WWE will approve that. They will approve that. They won't let Damian Priest be the face of the company going into like Netflix land. No, thank you. He's gonna have to
Yeah.
have an undercard title for a while.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes with that. I mean, at some point, he's got to cash in that briefcase, and we're getting towards the end of that run. We're getting into month 9, or month 9 or 10 of that briefcase run. So he's only got a couple of a little bit of time here to do something with it. So this could be that something, and they, like you said, they did tease it. Usually when they tease something, it's not just for shits and giggles, because they might be going somewhere with it. So we'll see how it goes with that. But yeah, you're right, man. We did save the best for last. At least I think so.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
Oh, whoa,
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 whoa!
whoa.
Are we just not gonna talk about the updates to the Rhea Ripley Fatal 4-Way stuff?
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, we can do we can do the. I mean, I guess there was a little bit more movement on that. So we did
Just a
get
quick touch.
yeah. So we did move forward in that story. Uh, Rhea wasn't really that big of a part of the story this week. I mean, she did appear on a couple of backstage segments and whatnot, but we did not get a in-ring appearance from Rhea Ripley this week. But we did get an interaction. Well, we did get a match. First, we got a match, right? We got Becky versus Nia Jax in a rematch of their match from a couple of weeks ago. Um, but we knew where this was going after last week, right? We knew that
Hmm.
this wasn't gonna finish clean. Uh, with the shenanigans that happened last week. Rewind real quick. Becky interfered in Liv Morgan and Nia Jax's match and caused a DQ uh, in that match, in which Liv Morgan was extremely unhappy about that and let Becky know about it backstage. So then what happened? Fast forward to this week in Becky and Nia Jax's match, which take that match for what you will. It was an okay match. It wasn't that it wasn't spectacular, but it was okay. But you knew you weren't gonna get a clean finish. That's exactly what happens because who comes out from the crowd but Liv Morgan to jump right on Nia Jax and cause another DQ on the other side of things. So now Liv Morgan has definitely entered the women's world title chat and let Becky know.
The world title chat. That's hilarious.
and so and she let Becky know about it backstage. Made it very very clear that that Becky can't take. What did she tell Becky? The you call yourself the man, but you can't.
She made it all political again. Just she said something like, "Just like a man, you can't take responsibility," or
or you
I
can't
don't
take,
know,
or you
something
can't,
stupid like
or
that.
you can give it, but you can't take it, or whatever.
Oh
Which
yeah,
was a
yeah,
good, which was
yeah.
a great point because Becky's over there doing her thing and whatnot, but whenever it got back to her, she got really pissed off about it. So that's what Liv Morgan was trying to tell her. So Nia Jax has not technically lost any of these matches. She's won by DQ both times. So she technically hasn't lost, except for losing to Rhea at Elimination Chamber. And so are we? They're still promoting it as a one-on-one match for the women's world title between Becky and Rhea. There's been no indication that they are making a change except for just teases, right? And we're kind of trying to look deep into it. And this has one of those matches that's earmarked for a possible card change. Here's the argument, right?
Okay.
Do you want to see a multi women match for this title?
Yes.
I think you've said that before, but let's reiterate that again. Based on what you see now, right? A couple of weeks into this, are you still wanting to see a multi woman match for this title? Tell me why.
Yes. This is it's been built for a few weeks now. All these women are intertwined. They're stunning in the ring. They're all main eventers, I think, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you can't do another singles match for that matter, right? Like we talked
Mm-hmm.
about, there's
Mm-hmm.
too many singles matches and not enough um, additional, kind of fun matches, right? There's very little fun matches, um, or bigger ones with multi competitors. Um, and Rhea Ripley has proven that she can beat all these girls. She can beat them all one on one.
Mm-hmm.
It's another Gunther problem, right? This is why we wanted Gunther in a match with multiple people so they could justify why he lost. But um, my my guess is that this makes the most sense for all these girls. It's where they're going. I kind of just read the room. I think that Liv Morgan has come very close multiple times. For um, for all intents and purposes, she should be the number one contender. If you think about how many close finishes she's had over the last few spaces,
Mm-hmm.
the different PLEs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she really should be there, and it shouldn't be Becky. But Becky won her way into it because of the Elimination Chamber. But she also lost to Nia Jax one on one. I mean, there's a lot of things going on here. So they all basically have a claim to the throne here, and they're all trying to cash in their claim to the throne. Okay, you want a match with mommy? Here it is, and I think it just works out really good. Like, I mean, shit. When the more the merrier, most of the time, man. Honestly, like, I think a fatal four way it's just gonna be excellent to watch. It's gonna be well. It's been probably a while since we've seen Rhea Ripley in a multiple match like this. She's just been dominating everybody one on one. I don't know if you can think of any matches off the
Yeah,
top of your head
I was
where
trying.
she's had
No, not that
any
I can.
multiples.
Not that I can remember. Not with this
And
run.
the other side is going to be Bailey versus Io straight up.
Let me see.
So you know what's that?
Ah, okay, there it is. Okay, that's what she said. She said not everything needs to be about you, Becky. That was back a couple of weeks ago. So this,
Uh
yeah, they've
huh.
been kind of brewing up the whole Liv Morgan thing. So this is what I have for you. Okay, so does it have to be a four-way, or is this thing better structured off as a triple threat between Becky, Rhea, and Liv?
So we're gonna leave. You want to just leave Nia Jax out, which prove they've invested a lot of time
Mm,
and proven her as a competitor.
true, but um, is that too
Who has
many?
a match this week? Because one of the four girls have a match this week.
Is that too many cooks in the kitchen at that point, though? On that whole thing,
Why? Why is it? Why is it too much?
because Nia Jax already got her shot and she lost,
Mm-hmm.
and Becky hasn't got her shot yet at Rhea, and neither has Liv, like one on one or whatever, you know. So I mean, I guess if you wanted to throw Nia in there, that's fine. But Nia isn't really doing a lot in this. She's in the matches, sure, but it seems like in the past couple of weeks they've been focusing heavy on a lot of Becky and Liv stuff, and then of course Rhea and Becky. But
Well, Nia came out and hit. What is it? Hit. What's it called? From behind. Uh, she hit Becky during her promo. I think it was where she came out of the crowd and hit Becky during the promo and said that shouldn't be your spot. It should be mine.
sure,
So that she's constantly on TV. They're working her into the story. I think they're doing it for a reason. Remember, like we said earlier, they WWE does things for a reason, right? So keep an eye on this. I get what you're saying. Maybe it might be better with a triple threat, but unless they're gonna find some kind of way to settle this shit, right? Maybe like they're gonna have some kind of match to be like, okay, there can only be because you know what? They might fuck us and be like, there's only gonna be one contender and there's only gonna be a one on
you're
one on,
right.
and the three of you girls are gonna have to fucking duke it out. Because they could swerve us like that and say three of you girls are gonna duke it out for the number one contender. But the problem is Becky's already solidified. She's guaranteed herself a chance there. So that's why I think we're still going with the fatal four way. Um, but we'll see. I
Yeah,
mean, it
yeah,
could
I
be.
think you might be right about that.
I think the girls have another match this week. Like that storyline, they have another match this week that's gonna get fucking interrupted again by
I'm
somebody, whoever's on the
trying.
outside.
I'm trying to see if I can find what next week's Raw card is supposed to look like because we
It's
did
Liv
get.
versus Becky, isn't it?
I think that's
And
where we're
Nia
headed
Jax is going to
because
interfere.
yeah, you're probably right about that. It's probably not going to be a clean finish to that too, and then we're just going to get all four of those women into that match, and why the hell not at this point? Um,
Yeah, because you're going to have to put together a good, exciting match for WrestleMania, and you can't leave all these girls off the fuck. You already live in Natalia off the show, so we have to have everybody else out there. Liv is a
it's
moneymaker,
also
man.
very true.
Liv's a moneymaker. I
Oh
think that
yeah, she's been doing a lot of great ever since she came back.
hmm
She's been doing a lot of great character work herself.
so is Becky, and I think Nia Jax adds an interesting wrinkle to everything because of her dominance, right? So,
I could see them. I could see them doing this one of two ways, right? I could see them either going with the four way, like you said, and just saying, you know what, let's just put all these four women in there, or I could see them because Becky has a guaranteed spot. You know, she already won her spot. She's not gonna lose it.
hmm
I could see them doing uh,
Nia versus Liv.
Live one more time, and that person gets to go to gets to be
Sure,
inserted into the WrestleMania match.
sure,
Um,
sure.
Because I don't know, because you would have to make it make sense, right? Adam Pearce would have to come out and say, well, you know what? All four of y'all are in the match now. That's I don't know how I like that because who how did either one of those two women earn their spot in? That makes sense.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I mean, yeah, sure. I see what you're saying. I mean,
I
I
mean
think they could all make claims to it, right?
I understand.
I beat Becky.
Like I'm not saying that that all four of them don't deserve to be in that match because I think that they do, but you got to make it make sense, right? Because Becky won her way in. If you're telling me that these other two ladies because they've been interfering, either interfering in matches or whatever, they just get inserted into it, then this is the point that I'm gonna make, and I know I might be nitpicking here, but then what was the point of the elimination chamber? What was the
No,
point of it?
you guarantee it, but it's not. It's just like the Royal Rumble.
No, no,
You
no, no.
guarantee yourself a shot. Doesn't mean you're always going to be in a singles match. So
I get it, but you see where I'm going here with this is that Liv Morgan loses at the elimination chamber, and so does Nia Jax, and Becky Lynch wins. Now all of a sudden you're telling me that yes, Becky Lynch is still in this match, but these two other women that did not do anything to get into this match are gonna get into it. I'm not saying that they don't deserve to be there because they're part of the story and it's really cool.
well,
But on the show you got to make it make sense, right? That's why I'm saying that I don't know if they can get both of them into
both of
this
them.
match,
Maybe it just be one.
just from a technical standpoint. But maybe you do. Maybe like you said, I think yeah, because I'm looking at the card. It's Becky versus Liv next week. We already know how that's gonna end. Nia Jax is gonna interfere or whatever, and I think this is where a guy like Adam Pearce or whatever will step in and say, "Okay, that's enough of this. Like I'm tired of this or whatever." Next week it's gonna be Liv Morgan versus Nia, and the winner of that gets into the match.
Sure. No, I mean, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that.
it's unfortunate that it might end up leaving Nia Jax off of that championship card, but she's already had her title match.
Sure.
I already feel like she
I
already
don't think
had her shot, but
I don't think it matters because I think Rhea's gonna get the pin on
yeah,
one of these ladies.
I think either way, like Rhea's winning, so I think we're I think
Yeah,
all
so like
I think all the conversation we're having is kind of mute, but it's kind of moot because I mean she's gonna
Nia
end
taking
up
the
winning
pin
anyways.
makes Nia taking the pin protects Becky and Liv's career going forward. So if they do pin Nia again, one of them pins Nia, you know. So you never know. But who knows? I I I I think that you got to try to, you know, there. I agree with you. You got to try to figure a way to make it make sense into the
hmm
story. Um, but I do know that you know having four women in there, you know, you're gonna have two women on this side. They're gonna be fighting. You have two women on the other side. They're gonna be fighting, and then you're gonna have, you know, if you
Yeah,
have a three way,
because if there's one thing that
it's kind of
if there's one thing that I will say that going into WrestleMania, right? If it's a title match, you have to earn your way in. That's what they've shown, right? However you get to the title match, it's
mhm.
because you earned your way there,
Sure.
right? So every single title that we have that's going to be on the line so far at WrestleMania is
Has been
because that
earned.
person has earned the right to be. No one's just been told, "Boom, you're in." You've earned that spot, and then we're gonna have another one
Sure,
on Monday with the
sure.
Gauntlet match. That person that wins the Gauntlet match earned their right to face Gunther for the
Gotcha.
Intercontinental Championship. That's
Everything
what.
is earned. I
That's
agree with you. I agree with you.
yeah.
It might be a triple threat then.
That's where I'm saying that, like, as much as I would be okay with the Fatal 4 Way, I think a triple threat makes sense because they're gonna make the two girls on the outside, Naya and excuse me, and Liv, earn the opportunity to be a part of that match. Unless there's just some other weird shenanigans thing, I don't know. I don't know. It could be many different things. Maybe you get a double count out or something in that match, and now both women earned their way into that match. But
Fucked
yeah,
up.
so we'll see how it goes. But next week,
Technically, they earn a one.
yeah, they both
They
win,
earned a win.
so they both get
Yeah.
in. Here you go. But we'll see how it goes next week. But that story continues next week with Becky and Liv, and we'll see how that goes. We do have two more matches next week on Raw that I'm seeing on the card. One of them is the Gauntlet match that we talked about earlier, so looking forward to that one. And then I saw this, and I am not looking forward to this one. but
Oh
it's on the
shit.
card. It's the women's tag team championship match. The Kabuki Warriors will be going one on one with the new number one contenders, which I totally
The
fucking
party
forgot
girls.
about this. No, they lost. They lost
Who the fuck
to
is it?
they lost to Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark.
Oh, that's right. They fucking didn't even promo out themselves out well. They just were like in the middle of the ring. She's like, about time. And then she walked out. I'm like, bro, you could have done more. You guys are never going to make it anywhere if you could just waste your spotlight with this stupid shit.
That's why I totally forgot about it. And when I saw it
Yeah.
on the
They
card,
don't hype their
when I
matches.
saw it on the card for next week, I was like, "Oh God!" I was like, "Are you serious? Like, give the Kabuki Warriors something else to do at WrestleMania."
Yeah,
Good
dude.
Lord, this
Unfortunately,
is
the
horrible.
women's tag team division is still not in a good
Yeah, we
place.
did.
I don't
Which
even see a
yeah,
contender for the Kabuki
no,
Warriors.
I don't know. I
I
don't.
would I would pick them to retain. I would pick them to retain
No matter
if
what, no matter what happens at WrestleMania, I would
who
pick
the
them
fuck they're
to.
going against, they're going to retain
I
because
would
there's
pick them
nobody
to
else better
retain.
than them.
No, there's not. Not right now. Not at least right now. And then we were teased on Monday too that one of the teams might be breaking up already. So
True.
not that they were a like a big time team, but Candice LeRae looks like she's on the way to making a heel turn. So that's another team that gonna be separated here pretty soon. Uh, but I don't know. Well, we'll just have the Kabuki Warriors go up against Maxine and what's her face, and that'll be fun, and we'll just do that.
Bro, don't even get me started on Maxine. Just keep going.
I was trying to trigger you there, but
I do not want to shit on this lady. Man, she is gorgeous. She's
she
I'm sure she's
needs
very talented,
she
but
needs
she should have
work,
learned.
man. She needs work.
She didn't even make it on the NXT. She wasn't even on the NXT. For anybody that doesn't know, and you've made it this far, you're gonna learn. Maxine is learning on the fly. She is. What is that girl's name? Eva Marie or what's her
Damn,
name?
we're throwing it back. Ivy Nile, bro. Or
No.
who?
Ivy Nile actually practiced wrestling.
Or who are you
Eve,
who are you trying to talk
the red
about?
hair, straight
Oh yeah,
the girl with the red hair.
yeah. You were right. That's Eva Marie.
Yeah, that she's on that level because Eva Marie didn't have a wrestling background. She learned on the fly here in the company on the main roster of all
That's
places.
a good comparison.
I'm Maxine. Unfortunately, I'm sure she will be a good wrestler, but she should have had. She I saw recently a interview with her, and just really quick, put a thing on this.
I knew this was gonna
Yes,
trigger you.
people are talking about her because we might see her at WrestleMania. People are talking about her, and they're not being very kind.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think that she understands that. Well, I mean, she does, but it's because she should be polished. We expect a polished wrestler. There's a lot of other girls back there that are polished already. You coming in, people are asking, why do you get a shot? Why do you have no wrestling background? You have no business in that ring, and you're messing up when you're in there. Why do you get to learn? Like, is it like does Tribal Cheese and Johnny T get to go to the WWE and just start learning in the wrestling
No.
in the you just don't do it like that. What about all those people in NXT that are
No.
putting the time in and learning their craft and spending years there before
Yeah.
they come up here? And before that, they were in the indie circuits, right? So
Yeah.
like people are saying, what is she doing here?
Sure.
We understand that she's beautiful, but what is she doing here as a wrestler? If you're gonna have her here as a manager, we've seen this experiment and time again. Lana did it as well, where Lana wasn't. She tried and tried and tried, and she never got over because she was just not born and bred to be a wrestler. She didn't have enough time. So we've seen it again and again.
I knew I would trigger you a little bit.
Don't bring up that scene to me, man.
I will say shout out to Maxine, man. You're trying very, very hard. I appreciate what you're doing. I know it can't.
Maxine, you're gonna fail just like all the other girls before you.
I know it can't be easy to hear stuff like what Tribal Cheese is saying and what that person said to you on live and just telling you that you suck and never come back and all that as they're not the ones in the ring putting on the show, but we're all entitled to our opinions. But I will say this, Maxine, fight the good fight, keep improving your craft, and maybe you'll get it. But don't let people bring you down. It's all right. It's part of the business. Just
It's nothing personal.
shrug them off your shoulders and continue to get better at your craft. That's all I can tell. That's what I do with Tribal Cheese all the time. He tries to shit on me, I just shrug him off my shoulders and I just continue doing my thing. I don't care.
Maxine, you should listen to me.
And if you notice, Mr. Zero's not here anymore, so I shrugged him off of my shoulders and he ain't here no more. So there you go. But yeah, so with all that, we got to get into, before we leave here, we got to get into the big news that was announced before Monday Night Raw, but then was also doubled down on Monday Night Raw. But a well deserved, finally getting into the WWE Hall of Fame is the wise man, Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman is the first announced inductee to the WWE class Hall of Fame class of 2024. It feels like it's been a long time coming. It feels like he should have been in years ago, but according to people that were close to Paul, he didn't want to go in until he was done with wrestling. Uh, but this makes too much sense because it's Triple H's first Hall of Fame class as having full control of creative, and it just happens to be in Philadelphia, where Paul Heyman made probably his biggest name for himself as the creator of ECW, and which was featured primarily in Philadelphia, and so having him be an inductee in Philadelphia is just fucking huge and rightfully deserved. And congratulations go out to Paul Heyman. And just looking at a body of this guy's career, I'd argue, this is just me, but I'd argue he's probably the best. I wouldn't even say he's probably. I'd say he's the best manager in WWE history. I know there's been a lot of good ones out there in the past. You can talk about like guys like Bobby Heenan and guys on that kind of echelon of things. But I can't think of. I mean, I wasn't like paying attention during those times, so you other people would have to come at me and say, "Well, Bobby Heenan did this, and Paul Bearer was this and this and that and all that,"
No.
and that's fine. You can argue with me, and I can tell you probably have a good argument. But the body of work that Paul Heyman has done as a manager, as a producer, as everything, and he puts and what he's been able to put into all of these characters that he's worked with has been insane. This guy's worked with just about, think about some of the big guys in the past before he was even Paul Heyman in WWE. He was working with the Undertaker before he was the Undertaker in WCW. He was working with Stone Cold Steve Austin. We may not even have Stone Cold Steve Austin without Paul Heyman. And then of course his building of ECW and what that brought to the and what how that changed the game, how that made WWE change who they were in the 90s because of ECW is because of Paul Heyman. The work that Paul Heyman, whether or not it's okay to talk about him anymore, and I don't know, whatever. But the work that Paul Heyman did when Brock Lesnar debuted, I don't know if Brock Lesnar is the same superstar that he ended up becoming without Paul Heyman, right? If anything, I would argue that Brock Lesnar is probably another Matt Morgan or another big Jack guy that just came on but had nothing going on for him other than just being big and jacked. But Paul Heyman helped those guys get through. I'm not even sure
But
that.
Wyman jacked him off. Yeah, I got it.
Oh Jesus Christ! But I don't know. But based on the things we've been hearing about Brock Lesnar,
It
I
might
don't,
be in the.
I don't know if that's out of the
It might
realm
be
of
in the case.
possibility. I'm not gonna shit on Paul Heyman like that, though, man. But anything that Paul Heyman has touched, usually has turned to gold, or at least has almost gotten there. There's been a couple of duds, but for the most part, everything the guy touches turns to gold. Once he was added, I mean, I'd argue the bloodline is not as good as it is right now without Paul Heyman in it and having the influence that Paul Heyman has had. Paul Heyman came out and said that the influence he's had on the bloodline has gone from story, entrance, music, to all the intricacies of it. Obviously, the players involved in it have a big part to do with it. Roman and the other guys and whatnot. but without someone to kind of give you the direction and tell you this is how we should lay it out, this is how it should look, this is how we need to present ourselves to make this work, you can't do it without the wise man. That's why I think Paul Heyman is obviously he deserves the Hall of Fame nod for sure, but I think he is the best manager of all time. Feel free to argue with me on that, Tribal Cheese, if you want to.
No arguments here. I think it's pretty
Woo!
obvious. I think it's pretty obvious he is. You know, even if you discount the stuff that he did with Brock Lesnar, um, yeah, obviously it's gonna get discounted. It's not gonna matter. He's still gonna be in the Hall of Fame, right? But
Mm-hmm.
before that, you know, you got CM Punk, right? Then
Yeah.
you got CM Punk into Brock Lesnar, and then into the Bloodline. I mean, home runs. He only hits home runs. That's all Paul. And he doesn't do it like just like kind of from the sidelines either. He's like up front and center. It does feel weird without without Paul Heyman being there. Like that's how it feels. You know, you never get tired of seeing him, and you
Mm-hmm.
notice it when he's not there. I mean, think about that too. How many segments he's been backstage,
Yeah,
you know,
he's
building up and promoting
yeah.
matches. If you're a manager, that's what you're supposed to do is manage, right? And promote matches and be a mouthpiece and be an advocate. And I mean, some of the best moments we've had is with Paul Heyman, some of the best entrances, right? Or the best ring
Mm-hmm.
announcements or however he wants to do it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we can't even discount, like you said, you can't discount his impact on the wrestlers and the way they see the
Oh
business, their
yeah.
professionalism, the way they grow. I mean, shit, I don't even think you get face Brock Lesnar without these last couple of years before all this shit happened. I don't think you get face Brock Lesnar ever going out on his own uh, if he
Mm-hmm.
didn't have all that experience with Paul Heyman before him. So I mean, Brock didn't change shit. He just kept it going. He
Mm-hmm.
he tried to do what Paul Heyman did, and his voice cracked. So it's just he's got a wonderful impact on this business.
For real.
Um, he's given us so many moments with the bloodline, with CM Punk, or and
Nate
it's
the
always continuity. It's always
yeah.
continuity, right? Because he sits there and there's always some kind of connection where people talk to
Yeah.
him, and in the biggest wrestlers that are still relevant
Mm-hmm.
today are still involved with Paul Heyman. So much deserved. I don't think that Paul Bear unfortunately is in the same level. Yes, but you never had to cut promos like
Yeah.
consistently and as often, and
Yeah.
with Undertaker, Kane, none of them, right?
For real.
You could argue like Ted DiBiase or something like that, but
Yeah.
you know, no, nobody even comes close to
Yeah.
mine. There's been a lot of managers, but nobody comes close to mine to what Paul Heyman has done.
Yeah, yeah, for real. The only one, like I said, that you might be able to make an argument for, and I would say that's fine. I can, stand back on that one is Bobby the Brain Heenan. Other than him, I'd say no. There's nobody that's done what Paul Heyman has done over the course of the last 30, 40 some odd years that
What
he's
you mean,
that
player?
he's been in the business. Oh my god, that guy was a manager for like a fucking minute. Hold on a minute, player. And
Hold
make it go
on.
one on one. And
He's
make
just gonna
it.
come in
He's
the
gonna make
Zoom
it.
room.
He's just gonna make you go one on one with the Undertaker. One on one with the Undertaker. But no, but that I'm a Paul Heyman guy thing. That's not a gimmick. That's a lifestyle. Those. Anything that Paul Heyman gets his hands on usually turns to gold, and without him, I think things would be a lot different in this business, and I think they'd be a lot different in WWE right now as it stands. I'm not sure the bloodline would be what it is without the magic that Paul Heyman brings to it. Whether you think he's an annoying character or not, that's the whole point of Paul Heyman. That's the whole point of, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, and I am the advocate and the wise man for the
A wise
WWE
man
Undisputed Champion, Roman Reigns.
like that.
Just great
Guy,
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 great
give me the
guy.
mic.
well deserved Hall of Fame induction coming up for Paul Heyman. It's a little bit of a shame once again with the Brock Lesnar stuff because that's probably the guy that I would have said would probably been like earmarked to induct him into the Hall of Fame. But obviously, Brock Lesnar has been erased from the company, so we won't be seeing any of him anytime soon.
Permanently.
So it'll be interesting to see who inducts Paul Heyman into the Hall of Fame, but rightfully deserved. And I hope that Philadelphia crowd gives him the biggest, the biggest pop and everything when he comes out there for his speech. And I'll be looking forward to hear his speech because that guy has. If you ever gone on the rabbit hole of YouTube and interviews with Paul Heyman and one-on-ones with him, the guy is just a brilliant mind. So, anyways, well deserved a Hall of Fame nod for Paul Heyman. Congratulations from us over here at the Springboard Plancha podcast to the wise man, Paul Heyman. Well deserved. And we'll look forward to see what the other inductees of the Hall of Fame are going to be for this season, this season, this year. Um, if there's any that are of big note, not to say that not everyone in the that gets inducted is a big note, but I unfortunately my history goes back only to about maybe like 90. So anything before that, I may not be able to talk about very very fluently here on the podcast. So I don't want to make myself look stupid. So as long as it's somebody getting inducted that we can at least talk about here, we'll let you know. Otherwise, just follow WWE social media accounts to find out who else is going to be a part of the Hall of Fame class. But I thought giving Paul Heyman his flowers on this show was essential, so I wanted to get it in there. So that's what we did here. But I think to wrap things up tonight, though, I think we look forward to what's going to happen here the next couple of weeks. We got, I think we got four shows left on each, 4 SmackDowns and 4 Raws to go here before we get to the big show. So we look forward to seeing how these stories develop, and of course, we will be here again next week to talk to everyone about what's happened over the course of this next week, and hopefully WWE continues to pump out some more things here over the next week so that we can talk about them. So I'm sure they will. There's always something to talk about here. But until then, guys, unless you have something else to say, Tribal Cheese, you want to say goodbye to the crowd? Do a good send off.
I got nothing to say. Let me tell you something.
There it is.
I don't got nothing to say to these fools.
That's what I've been waiting
But I got something to say to Mr. Zero. Mr. Zero, I don't want to hear your excuses, son. You need to get your ass back to the show, okay? Because I'm tired of having to say, let me tell you something, because it's not easy. So get your ass back. I need to hear some more of your stupid shit that comes out of your mouth so I could sound smart here and there.
Let me tell you something, Mr. Zero. You don't need to be afraid of me. You need to be afraid of what everyone else is going to say about you if you do not come back to the show anytime soon. So we're calling you out. Everybody here in the Springboard Plancha universe is calling you out, Mr. Zero. When are you going to come back? That's up to you. But until then, that's been the Tribal Cheese. I am Johnny T, and we will see you guys